Warning: viewers' discretion is advised, as this may contain mature or triggering content. Story prompt: Larkspur. Title: Deadly but Tired. Experimenting on human beings is something that has been going on for years. When it first started, there was very little success and a lot of deaths. The goal? To make the perfect super soldiers. It took them years upon years, and even to this very day, it isn't a perfect science. Even to this day, they can't create another Lark. That's what they call her. Either that or Experiment LFS 203TS. You could see how just calling her Lark would be easier. In case you're curious, it stands for Larkspur Flower Subject 203 Test Success. It took them 203 times to finally get a successful experiment with the larkspur flower, and for some reason, even after she was created, none of the others succeeded. Perhaps a fluke of nature, or she was just lucky, if that's what you want to call it. However, her friends, other experiments, call her Yuki. She had picked up the name after hearing it mentioned by one of the scientists. She had seen it snow many times in her missions, and it was always breathtaking, so pure and clean, unlike her. Yuki had just gotten back from a mission, blood coating her body. "You keep coming back more and more battered, Yuki," Dr. Kelsey said with a frown as she put on special gloves to work on her wounds. "It's fine." "No, it's not. They will start to think you are useless." Yuki scoffed at the doctor's words. "You know as well as I, they already think I'm useless. I'm dying, slowly but surely, with each time I use this power of mine. You know it, and you've been hiding the fact from them. But they've noticed. You won't be able to hide it much longer." Kelsey flinched. "You're serious, aren't you?" Yuki nodded. "I'm tired, Kelsey. We all are." She frowned. "I'm sorry. I know simply saying this could never ease the anger and hatred you guys feel for us." "We don't hate you. You are the only good soul here, which is why I'm asking you to leave, escape. You are the only person we want to escape." What?" Yuki's smile turned bittersweet. "You know what happened to the groups of us who tried escaping. Sure, we got a bit of freedom. Some of us didn't even make it out of here. And others, when they caught us again, they made us execute each other." Kelsey looked to the floor. "Why do you want me to escape? I've done some terrible things as well. You guys know this." Yuki sighed, moving to rest her hand over Kelsey's stomach. "But your child hasn't." Kelsey flinched. How did you—" "Darian told me. He could smell the change on you. You know how much he cared for you." Kelsey nodded. He is the father. What if this child isn't normal? What would I do? How could I make sure she's raised well within this world?" Yuki shrugged. "I don't know. But surely you don't want to lose the memory of him. His last request from me was that I keep you and his child safe." Kelsey began to cry slightly. "Why would he put such a weight on you?" Yuki gave her another small smile. "Everyone always puts the weight on me. because I have that kind of power, the kind that it will take to end all of this. Surely not. That the others couldn't have asked you to. Yuki smiled. Yes, I agreed with their request. We thank you for everything, Kelsey, but we want you and Darian's child to at least escape. You'll die! Yuki, if you do this, you will die, and Kelsey, we have nowhere to go. You can't hide all of us. A lot of us are simply ready to rest. You know, I can either make one's death painful or soothing. Those I care for will die peacefully, and those that have hurt us over and over again will die miserably. I will endure it all to make sure it happens. Kelsey trembled as she bandaged up Yuki. There are a few of the younger ones we want you to take with you. They want to go with you. So, you won't be alone, and you know they won't hurt or cause you problems. If anything, they can help you. She nodded, doing her best to fight off the tears that spilled from her eyes. Okay, when? Tomorrow, Yuki says with a soft smile. Tomorrow there will be something major that happens. Ariel already has a path laid out for you and the others to get free. Vin, Mare, Cole, and Eve are the ones that will be going with you. You guys are looking after the children that haven't been tormented fully yet. Yuki nodded. You know as well as I, they have small, simple abilities, only having been run through one type of experiment, and they still look human. They will be the easiest to hide and live among humans. They deserve a chance, as does your child. Yuki, you look human too. So do a few others. We can... No, I won't risk bringing harm to anyone else. You can't even touch me without those special gloves. And contacts aren't strong enough to cover up the brilliant purple of my eyes, not to mention the blue of my hair. Then claim it's contacts, and you like dyeing your hair. Please, Yuki, I want you guys to live normal lives as well. Yuki shook her head. You know we can't. Some of us would cause problems due to trauma. Others might just randomly explode. So, we have all agreed. It's best to die in this place. To end it all. Remember, tomorrow, be ready to leave. Please, Yuki. Yuki stood from the table. Every flower eventually wilts away, Kelsey. I'm just being a bit more useful than other flowers before my time arrives. Please, keep us in your memory, she said before walking out of the medic room and leaving Kelsey in shock. Yuki walked out the door and one of the guards shoved her, telling her to walk faster. She simply waved at Kelsey, who wanted to say something. Picking up her pace, she walked through the halls, down an ever-darkening corridor. Prison-like cells came to view, and she walked slower, tapping the bars of each cage, leaving a purple mark the guards didn't notice. She smiled softly at the 4 kids who were in a cage together, waving at them instead of tapping the bars. Yuki did the same for the rest of the cells she passed. All they had to do was touch the mark she left, and then, when they went to sleep tonight, they wouldn't wake up the next morning. She had already made her mark on the higher level cells. They would be noticed dead first, and then that's when all hell would break loose and Kelsey could escape. The guards shoved Yuki into a cage with Jace, who stood, rushing to pull her into a hug. You okay? His voice was soft, and Yuki nodded. Yes, she knows. Jace sighed. Good. He pulled back to look Yuki in the face. I love you. She pressed her lips against his. He was the only person that wasn't affected by the outer toxin lining her body, but he had been experimented on with poison dart frog, so it was like the perfect match. Neither of them could harm the other with their normal poison, but their blood could hurt each other, which baffled even themselves. I'll stay with you until the end. Thank you. The next morning, Yuki and Jace sat next to each other as alarms sounded throughout the building, soon followed by chaos, shouting and screaming, as the top floor found all of their precious experiments dead somehow. Kelsey approached their cage. You two are serious. She glanced around at others as they lay unmoving. Are they? Yuki nodded. Now take the kids and leave. Ariel is waiting for you through there. There was a hole in a wall, and Kelsey rushed to open the cage for Vin, Mare, Eve, and Cole. Let's go, guys, she said in a soft voice, noticing they couldn't even seem to cry at what was happening. Yuki. Kelsey turned to her. Thank you. Yuki smiled. No. Thank you. Please, live with them and stay healthy. For a very long time. All of you. A bluish-purple cloud began to form around Yuki before flowing towards the vents. Thanks to Ariel's earth control, all of the exits were blocked, and Yuki could fully control where her deadly mist would go. She watched as Kelsey and the kids ran down the pathway created by Ariel before it sealed off. Ariel was another one that would be allowed to escape. She would be of great help to Kelsey, to live off the land. Here they come, Jace's voice said, bringing Yuki back to the task at hand. The purple and blue mist thickened like a fog, and screams, coughing, and gagging could be heard, as those who had hurt them began to die slowly and painfully. Blood began to drip from Yuki's eyes, nose, and mouth as she continued to make this place full of her toxin. She could barely see Jace's face with how thick the mist was, but he moved closer, leaning in and kissing her softly, making sure her blood would touch his mouth. Someone actually managed to reach the bars of their cell, their bodies hitting roughly as they slid to the floor before the two of them, cursing Yuki, who could only smile and cry at the same time. Jace's head rested against her shoulder, the tight grasp on her hand slowly loosening. Thank you, Jace, for bringing me the slightest bit of joy in this life, she whispered to him as she leaned her head against his. The sounds of people screaming and dying as they choked to death on her toxin or their very own vomit slowly grew more quiet. I wish we would have met under better circumstances. Maybe in another life. Yuki's once brilliant blue hair began to turn a dark gray-brown color. Her eyes closed slowly, and soon there was nothing but an eerie silence in the once bustling lab. The end! I hope you enjoyed that one because it was a struggle for me to read off without possibly crying. Whew. Alright, so I enjoyed this one a lot. I really did. But there's also more backstory to these characters because they're sort of like side characters in a book series that I will eventually write. But they're only like mentioned vaguely, and I wanted to do a short story with them. And I didn't think I'd get so emotional while reading it, but I did. Oh. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. And if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye!